If you've been telling yourself that you have low libido or questioning if you are asexual or feeling like there's something wrong with you because you don't crave sex, I want to offer you a different way of considering your situation. One that is grounded in neuroscience, psychology, and the lived experience of me and hundreds of women that I have coached over the past 5 years. My name is Hannah, also known as the Libido Fairy, and today I want to explain something that really changed everything for me and changes everything for the women who feel broken around sex. And it is this: maybe you do not have low libido. Maybe your brain just doesn't see sex as something that is worth craving. Now, that might sound blunt, but I want you to stay with me, because once you understand why your desire shuts down, you can finally start rebuilding it without shame or pressure or forcing yourself. So let's break it down. We grow up thinking that libido is this built-in thing, like sex drive is just a thing that we have, like hunger or thirst, that should always magically be turned on. But desire actually works like a reward system. Your brain pays attention to, does this feel good? Do I enjoy this? Do I feel connected afterwards? Do I feel safe? Do I feel excited? Does this add something positive to my life? If the answer is yes, the brain will release dopamine and oxytocin. These are chemicals that make you want to repeat the experience and seek it out again. So desire actually shows up as a response to previous good experiences. This is why you will crave a food that you love, but you're never going to crave something that you find bland or disappointing. Your brain is the same way with sex. If sex consistently feels stressful, pressured, disconnected, painful, confusing, or ridden with some weird emotions, or it's just not that good, your brain is doing what all healthy brains do. It stops motivating you towards that thing. That is not low libido. That is just your nervous system being like, that's just not rewarding. Let's just not do that. One of the biggest realizations that I have ever had was also recognizing that for most of my teen years and early 20s, my motivation for sex was to get attention, to get validation, to get someone to be in a relationship with me or to want me. That was the dopamine reward that I got from it. I won my partner by giving them sex, but once I was in a relationship, that dopamine disappeared because I got the reward. So no more reward from sex equals no more motivation for sex. That was a major light bulb moment for me, because until I learned how to actually enjoy sex for me, more than just to get someone to like me, I was never going to want sex in a long-term relationship. The key was actually learning how to have sex that was rewarding in a consistent, stable way. And this is the part that a lot of women will just tell me privately or in my DMs because they're ashamed to admit that they've never really enjoyed sex that much, or that penetration just feels underwhelming, or they don't feel a lot during sex and it doesn't feel that connecting, or that they really like the emotional closeness afterwards, but the actual sex just isn't that great. It makes perfect sense to me. Crave-worthy sexual experiences are personally rewarding, which is going to mean something different for every single person. Figuring out what you really want to get from sex is such a good first step. So some examples of what you could get from sex are connection, pleasure, escape, play, mutual enjoyment, expansion, spiritual fulfillment. You ultimately get to decide what would be worth it for you, and then you can aim your sexual experiences toward getting that outcome. Now, when it comes to the actual experience of sex and how you want to get those outcomes, there are a few pretty fundamental elements that really make sex worth craving. So number one, emotional safety. So you need to feel like it's safe to say no without major emotional consequences, and then you can also say yes without pressure. Number two is a regulated nervous system. So your body's not going to turn on when it's feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or shut down. Number three is having pleasurable inputs, which are going to look different for every person. So things like foreplay, touch, kissing, sensations. These are really, really important. They matter more than anything else, but they're different for every person. So figuring out what are the pleasurable inputs for me is crucial. Number four is clear communication. So knowing what you like, saying that out loud, saying no, yes, I want more of this, less of that, and trusting your partner to respond. And number 5 is vulnerability and play. So trying new things, being curious, exploring, laughing with your partner. These all create that dopamine and the connection that turn on that reward system, anticipating the pleasure of the next time. When these pieces are in place, desire stops feeling like something that you should have and becomes something that naturally starts to return. Now, if you don't know how to create these elements, I teach women how to do that inside of my program, the Intimacy Accelerator, and there is information about that program in the description box below. So once you have these elements and you know what you want out of sex, you start getting the rewards from sex and your brain will start releasing dopamine in anticipation of intimacy. That's when you start experiencing things like wanting to kiss your partner, thinking about sex during the day, feeling playful and flirty again, actually initiating sex, feeling excited, and feeling pleasure. Your libido didn't just magically fix itself in that case, you just changed the input. You created new associations and new experiences with sex that then allow your brain to predict a different outcome from it. And when something feels good consistently, your brain is like, I want to have more of that. That is how desire works. So the question is not, why don't I have libido? It is, has sex been worth craving? Have I ever had the kind of sex that feels really good for me? And then what would need to be true for me to feel safe, open, and excited during sex? That is where the power is. That's where the change is. That's where desire comes back. And if you want even more tips on how to make sex more satisfying for you, you can check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.